For f prime of x. So let's go ahead and do it. So to do this question, we know that f prime of x is going to be equal to, it is now equal to the limit. Alright, so f prime of x is equal to the limit as h tends to 0 of f of x plus h, f of x plus h, minus f of x over h. F of x plus h minus f of x, all being divided by h. Nice and easy and soft. Now to do this question, look at this now. So this is just going to become now the limit as h approaches 0 of, now look at this beauty. F of x plus h, this is f of x. So it's going to be now the sine of, in bracket, 3 times, in bracket, x plus h plus 1 minus f of x, which is the sine of 3x plus 1. This is all being divided by h. All being divided by h. Now look at this now. This is what? This is the sum of, this is the difference of two sines. So we're going to end up get the limit as h approaches 0 of, it is twice the cos of half the sum times the sine of half the difference. It's going to be twice the cos. It's going to be twice the cos of half the sum times the sine of half the difference. So it's going to be twice the cos of half the sum. 3x plus 3x is 6x plus, this is now 3h plus no h, which is 3h plus 1 plus 1 is 2. And then all of that is, of course, being divided by 2. All right, so all of this is being divided by 2. I need to put another bracket to show that all of that is being divided by 2. Then times the sine of half the difference times the sine of, in bracket, half the difference. 3x minus 3x gone. 3h, then 1 minus 1 gone. So it just works out to be 3h over 2. And this is all being divided by h. Twice the cos of half the sum times the sine of half the difference. That's what we get. So what is this going to work out to be? This is going to work out to be the limit as h tends to 0 of, this is now just going to be simplifying. It's going to be 2 times the cos of 6x over 2 is 3x. This is plus 3h over 2 plus 3h over 2. I'm going to have to write that one. Plus 3h over 2 plus 2 over 2 is 1. Then we multiply it by the sine of 3h over 2 times the sine of 3h over 2. And then this is all being divided by h. All being divided by h. Now look at this beauty right here. We, of course, we need a 3h over 2 right here. So look what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 3 over 2 right here in the denominator and put a 3 over 2, put a times 3 over 2 in the numerator. Put a times 3 over 2 in the numerator. Then guess what? It's then going to become the limit as h tends to 0 of, as we can clearly see, 3 over 2 times this 2 is just 3. So it then becomes 3 times the cosine of what is left back here, which is 3x plus 3h over 2 plus 1, then that is of course, this is of course right now being multiplied by the limit of the sine of 3h over 2 over 3h over 2, because we can break it up as the limit of the product is the product of their limits. So the limit as h tends to 0 of the sine of 3h over 2, sine of 3h over 2 over 3h over 3h over 2. But we know the limit of that part is what? That part is 1. This limit is 1. That limit is 1. Beautiful. So since we know that is 1, what we end up just get is, this will become now, apply the limit, that part is times 1. And this part, left back with is plug in the 0. We're just going to get, when you plug in the 0, 3 times 0 over 2 is just 0. So we just get 3 times the cosine of 3x plus 0 plus 1. And that is being multiplied by 1. And so we're done. Because see there, the final answer will, of course, work out back to what was up there. Easy, soft. We're going to get back the final answer. We're going to get back our final answer. Nice. All we had to do was utilize the difference of two sides. Soft. So we have to write soft. A capital T. Over 2 to do this. That's pretty nice. So what we get is g prime of x. G prime of x is equal to, g prime of x is going to be equal to now minus 2 times the cos of x over 2. When you differentiate cos, you get minus sine times the derivative of what's in the bracket. So it's going to be minus a half times 2, then that would cancel. So looking at it, our final answer should work out to just be the sine of x over 2. This is what we're supposed to get, the sine of x over 2. Just want to check again. We would differentiate this, differentiate cos, we get sine x over 2 times a half times minus 2, half times 2 is 1. So this is what we're supposed to get. G prime of x is sine x over 2. Let's see if that's what we're going to get using limits from first principle. So start out, and we know that g of x is equal to minus 2 times the sine of, it's minus 2 times the sine of x. Actually, it's minus cos. Don't let me write rubbish. Minus cos. So it's minus 2 times the cos of x over 2. Okay, let's go ahead and have some fun now. We're going to have some real fun here. So now we know that g prime of x is going to be equal to the limit. Let's change the color for that one because this is really nice now. The limit as h tends to 0 of g of x plus h, in this case that will be minus 2 times the cosine of x plus h. So it's going to be x plus h over 2, x plus h over 2 minus the it's going to be minus 2, but come on, I can just put a plus right here because we know it's going to be minus and the minus make it become plus. So it's then plus 2 times the cosine of x over 2. all over h. Now for me, this is just how I like to do it. How I see it right here, I like to switch the order and look at it as the difference of two cosines. I just love using that one formula. Maybe that's me, but that's just what I prefer to do. So I'm going to rearrange this or reshuffle it. This is just my preference. You don't have to do it this method. I like to reshuffle it and say that this is 2 times the cosine of x over 2, 2 times the cosine of x over 2 minus 2 times the cosine of x plus h over 2. That's how I like to do it. I like to put it as the difference. Once I write it as the difference, look what I'm going to do. You see this 2 right there? This 2 and this 2, I'm going to factor out 2. Yeah, man, factor out 2. Why keep that 2 right there? That 2 don't need to be right here right now. Factor out 2 and put it. Let's put it in a different color. Put that 2 out here, man. You don't have no purpose yet. So that is going to be 2 times the limit as h approaches 0 of. Now the difference of 2 cos is minus, the difference of 2 cos is minus twice the sine of half the sum. So now we have x over 2 plus x over 2 plus h over 2. Now I have to add it up because it's fractions. Just to be safe, x over 2 plus x over 2 plus h over 2. If I'm going to add these, I just have to be very careful. X plus x is 2x, 2x over 2 is x, so it's minus twice this, minus 2 times the sum, half the sum. So this is now 2x over 2, which is x. That works out to be x plus h over 2, and it's half the sum, so it's all over 2. All right, all over 2. So really and truly, we can just write this as x over 2 plus h over 4. Yeah, man. Let's write this as x over 2 plus h over 4. X over 2 plus h over 4. Then it's going to be times the sine of half the difference. Times the sine of half the difference. The difference is x over 2 minus x over 2. As I can see, there's cancel, then I have minus h over 4. So this becomes minus h over 4. And then this is all being divided by h. All being divided by h. Easy, soft. So this will work out now to be equal to, now the sine of minus h over 4, you can factor out that minus come here. So this will actually work out now to be, you see this 2 right here, the minus right here can come out here to make this become positive, because the sine of minus h over 4 is equal to negative the sine of h over 4. So this minus here, you can factor it out to bring it right here, but the minus and the minus become plus. Then 2 times 2 become 4. So I'm going to factor out that to write this now as 4 times the sine of, this is now 4 times the sine of x over 2 plus h over 4, x over 2 plus h over 4. And remember, this is a limit, so can't leave off limit, where this is equal to f prime is now equal to the limit as h tends to 0 of 4 times the sine of x over 2 plus h over 4 times the sine of h over 4 all over h. But instead of say all over h, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this part as being over h and put a times here and put this part as being over 1. Yeah, man. Why did I do that? I did that because now, if I have a h over 4 here, I can just divide this by a 4. And if I'm multiplying this by a quarter, I need to multiply the numerator by a quarter. So I'm going to put a quarter in the numerator. Yeah, man. But then this quarter and this 4 cancel each other. So now it's just going to work out to be equal to now the limit as h tends to 0 of that 4 and that quarter cancel each other. And so now we're just left back with the limit as h tends to 0 of the sine of x over 2 plus h over 4. But guess what as well? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? We can break it up as a product of two limits now. So we have the limit of this part, because the quarter cancel the 4, times this part is now just the limit as h tends to 0 of sine h over 4 over h over 4. So now the limit of sine h over 4 over h over 4. Yeah, man. But what is the limit of sine h over 4 over h over 4? This part is just 1. That part gonna work out to be times 1. When you plug in 0 in this part right here, you'll just get that this will work out to be plug in 0. You're just gonna get the sine of x over 2. And then the sine of x over 2 times 1 is just the sine of x over 2. So this just works out to be the sine of x over 2. So it works out to be just like what we say we did supposed to get, sine of x over 2. Easy, soft. We got our answer, sine x over 2, soft. So we got our answer.